There's also something else about, so like the pre-framework I found really useful.
It is, yeah. And stopping them from, hypnotizing you with their story.
Yeah, that's so essential. Yeah, compliance.
Stop it. You got to
I always do that
straight away.
Set that up at the very beginning. But the future pacing, I've got a series of recordings that I would give to people. So the first one was called Preparing for Success. It was about mindset. The follow-up was called Just Do It. So whatever they wanted to do, it was reinforcing, just get the freaking hell on with it.
Yeah.
And so that would be the support, and then the change work would be done in the middle, and they wouldn't get to go over that again. So I like to bookend it, and that really worked. That made it very effective. Yeah.
So here we are. I'm gonna jump one and go to this one because I love this one. Occasionally, I feel like I've taken on a client against my better judgment. We've all done that, haven't we? What strategies do you use to decide whether a client is right for you and vice versa? Well, we did discuss this because it made me smile and I remembered. Steve and I have a similar strategy in that if somebody presents and for whatever reason, my instinct is saying, do not go near this person, don't work with them, you're not a good match, there's somebody better out there for them, or for whatever reason, I would say, oh God, how much money can I charge them? And I would come up with an obscene amount of money. I mean, my fees are not posted anywhere. Fees are when you talk to me, and I'll tell you what my fees are. I would give them an obscene amount of money, and then occasionally they go, yeah, okay. And I think, oh, I've got to do it now. And I did do it. I did go, I delivered, I got the change. And I think you had a similar strategy, did you not, Mr. Crabb?
Yeah, I did. As you're telling that story, and I'm just processing the question, it just occurred to me that my brain processed it about the wrong client more around value, more rather than am I able to be of service to them. So when you're starting out, I think it can be very easy to stumble into working with someone where you are coaching above your pay grade. And coaching above your experience. Yeah. I don't want this to sound arrogant. I'm just going to say it. So if it sounds arrogant, it's arrogant. Okay. I haven't met anyone that's coming as a client where I thought I can't do something with this. Okay. I did at the beginning, but after about a year, having worked with hundreds and hundreds of people in the first year, I was going, bring it on. Doesn't matter what the case is. I know I can do something that's going to be worth the value that I'm charging.
Yeah.
And I didn't meet anybody where I thought, this is out of my league. I know who to send them to. So that's the bit I'm saying. I don't want this to come across as being arrogant. It's just, I knew. It's a bit like Owen said yesterday. He was talking about doing something and going, I know I'm going to be one of the best at this. Yeah. So when it came to therapy, I just knew that with my work and my commitment and my approach, I was one of the best people to be of service to people to come on in. Did it mean that some people came in, I'm in the session thinking, oh my goodness, I wish I hadn't started that? Yes. Yeah. But they were generally the ones where I had to really get rapport with my own identity. Right? I had to step up.
The most. They're the ones I learned the most from.
Yeah.
The ones
I had to step up.
Oh, I don't want to do this. You have to step up. You have to pull something out, rabbit out of the hat.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, I thought, yeah, I did
that. So in terms of somebody whose presenting issue is maybe so extreme or so distressing or so unique, I never found that to be an issue. Bring it on. Let's see what we can do. Yeah. The areas where I worked to make sure, no, you're not coming in, were the ones that they wanted to prove something.
Yeah.
They wanted to demonstrate how tough and difficult they were. Yeah, they wanted to really just add you to the list of all the other people they'd seen before. Yeah, so I would not work with those people until I'd had a conversation with them and kind of knocked that out of it. So it's like, don't come here to prove that you're difficult. If you want to do that, go and see someone else. I'll give you a list of people that will take your money. Yeah, and nothing will change. You've got to be willing to come here. When you're willing, then I'll see you. So they're the people that, you know, occasionally stumble, are the ones that they're not doing it on purpose, but they're holding on to their presenting problem.
Yeah.
They're the ones that I would work to make sure that they didn't come in until that had been addressed. There was only ever two people I turned away. Only ever been two people I've turned away. One aggressive and violent, and one verbally aggressive and violent. Him, I just sent packing. And you know, can you recommend? No, I'm not recommending you to anyone. Just get out. Yeah. And this particular lady who came in, and I said, no, I'm stopping the session. You're leaving. Okay. And I don't give refunds. Sent her away. And then she came back totally compliant and became a client over a couple of years. She used to fly in from Australia, in fact. Yeah. Right. The others are the ones where I go, I'm now doing something that really isn't my thing anymore. That's a different conversation when you've kind of moved on and it's not your stuff anymore. It's like remedial stuff isn't my stuff anymore. Yeah, I can do it.
Yeah.
But I love this working with business owners. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's certain elements that certain conditions that I can do it. I've done it in the past, but it's not my thing, and I don't really want to do it. So I refer them to our students. I think, who do I know that's really good? I refer them. Yeah, you send them to me. I think you refer them to the students. Yeah, it's like possible. It depends on what it is, doesn't it? Really, you know, there's a conveyor belt. You know, I think, oh, that sounds interesting. I'll do that. I think, oh God, no, I don't want to do any more of those. Here we are. You can have that. Yeah. So I think there's nothing wrong with occasionally stumbling if what you're doing is you're stretching your ability. Fabulous. If you're occasionally stumbling because you've let someone in who's just going to be a real pain, learn from it. If you're occasionally stumbling because you're taking on work which isn't your thing, learn from that and be willing to say no. You've got to be willing to say no. Yeah, that's one of the criteria of successful people is they go, no, not to that. Yeah, I've stopped 2 sessions. One guy, which was 20 odd years ago, and he was just being obtuse. He wasn't following instructions. He wasn't doing what I asked him to do, and he was just trying to be really clever. And I said, well, I'm sorry, we're obviously not a good fit. This isn't for you, not with me anyway. So I'm calling it a day. There's the door. And then he stood up and he started to argue with me to talk me into helping him. And then he did his own change work while he was arguing with me, which I thought was fabulous. Yeah. Mm. And then I went, okay, you can stay. And I didn't let on the fact that he did it while he was arguing with me. And then we finished the session and he came back because he thought that was wonderful. And then I had another person who had anger issues. And they started to be very verbally abusive at the beginning of the session. And I just said, out, off you go. Yeah. Yeah. Know your rules. Yeah. And I do have a similar strategy. I do have a similar strategy to Tina. That if someone does come along, I think, I don't really want to do the work, but I go, yeah, okay. And there'll be a rate that'll be quoted. But I don't even do that anymore. Because as Tina says, you can double it, and they'll go, yes. And you go, oh, no. Okay. In which case, you know you didn't double it enough. Yeah. So I just will go, no, it's not for me.